We'll start this off with a quote from Ron Paul. My defense of liberty is their right to practice their religion and say their prayers where they want and practice their life. If you do not protect liberty across the board, it's the First Amendment type issue. We don't have a First Amendment so that we can talk about the weather. We have the First Amendment so we can say very controversial things. Ron Paul, May 5th, 2011, at the Republican presidential debate. Another one, a quote or a comment from an earlier video regarding the weather. Derek, you should do a daily weather report with lots of charts. Cheers. Well, there won't be weather. I'm not going to be a meteorologist. However, if I was, I'd be most likely a little controversial. After all, the weather today is very controversial. Big time. So let's get started. First chart. This is for Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This is spring to date for temperatures, and the orange line represents the average temperature for 2010, and the blue line for 2011. This is spring to date, March the 22nd, up towards, this has May the 18th on it. Therefore, the running average of temperatures on May the 18th, 2010, in Toronto for the highest peak. This is the highest of the day, not the average for the day, the highest, 15 degrees Celsius. Today, it's around 11. That's about a 4-degree difference. And it's always been as a large degree ever since the first day of the spring. And here it was about a 7, 9 degree, or about a 6-degree difference, and here about 5. And now the gap is closing. Well, it got pretty cold in May. After all, the weather is now controversial. Now let's get into some data and some other charts. Before we get into the data, let's just take a look here at this chart. This is this year's weather in Toronto. Blue line representing the highest for the day, orange the lowest. I guess the good news is it hasn't really had a negative day in about a month. At least for the day. We don't even get nighttime negative anymore. But anyway, this was last year. It's all red. There was a lot more 20s back then, and well, the Earth's been going through a lot of changes. Let's take a look at this in here. What we have is the date. This is 2011. This is for 2010. This represents the highest point for the day, the lowest point, and the precipitation. Therefore, the average for the highs this year is 11.2 degrees Celsius, 11.3 from the start of March. It's rising though, it's rising. And the lowest is 4.07. Total precipitation 180 millimeters or 18 centimeters. Last year, it was 15.2 degrees of a difference. So there's a difference of about 4. The low was a difference of about 2.25. It was 6.38, and it had about a 200% more rain this year, or 2/3 less, at 64.8. So we look at these numbers. Well, first, before we look at the numbers, I'm going to go over a chart for the precipitation. And this year, it's been rampant. A lot of rain. A lot. And last year, there was a long stretch without any. That was a drought, really. Three full weeks. Now, I don't know if this is just daytime precipitation. I know the temperature is. I don't know about the rain and snow that comes on the ground. Oh, we'll talk about snow later on. After all, this is going to be about conspiracies and all. And this is the running average for the precipitation. Now let's go back to the data. Alrighty then. So we are looking at these numbers, the highs and the lows. Notice in here, from around May the 6th, May the 7th, it really started to cool down with 10-degree days for about a week. Really interesting. We got some of the rain, I guess, that we needed for that time frame. We've been getting a lot here, but I guess that just goes with the territory of having a lot of rain in different places, little rain in different places. And I'm giving you a chart for an area that's getting this we're getting nothing in comparison to many other areas. There is so much going on worldwide, so many areas to so many degrees. You name a weather phenomenon, whether it's a flood, whether it's a hurricane, whether it's a tornado, an earthquake, there's so many of them. They're all happening to a larger degree, which I think is now a conspiracy. Okay, then we got in here in May. Look at these 20-degree days, but we'll count the days of 20 degrees this year. We had our first on April the 11th, 22 and a half. Then again on April the 23rd. Then again, that's the 3rd. Ooh, a nice 26-degree day here for the 4th. And, well, that's it. I think yesterday we hit another one, but I'm not too sure again. It was nice yesterday. At least a few of the hours were. Last year, there was 1, 2, 3. But even to have this type of temperature for the first 5 days of April, now that's not usual. That's definitely not usual. So our count is at 3. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the warmest day was here. Over all these 12 days were never as warm as this one. But hey, the temperatures was a lot warmer back then. There wasn't as much rain. And we're in a situation where they state when the weather really starts to get out of control. Well, that's when the Mayan calendar comes to an end. That's where we're moving to the rapture. Now they say the rapture's tomorrow. I don't believe it. They also say, well, if you think about it over and over, things are going to happen. Well, maybe, but nothing happened on Y2K, and a lot of people thought of that one also. There's no reason to think that's the case. However, it does seem as if things are getting closer. Much, much closer. Now, as far as charts are concerned, if you want to invest on the weather, I don't think you can because I know the bankers aren't making money on it. They'll make money on whether you guys can pay debts off or not. They'll make a lot of weird wagers. But I don't think they make wagers on temperature. Maybe on destruction they might. I don't know. That one might be a possibility, but we're not going to talk about that. As far as chart movements, price action, my suggestion would be if you notice you're in a day, say, where it's extremely hot, then short the weather market. Short it down, and then whenever it's a cold day, maybe cover and then bet for it to go higher. Another possibility is bet around 1 o'clock in the afternoon for the temperature to go lower, and then when you go to bed at some point, then cover your short and hope you got the price going lower, if you will. Maybe go long on, if you're in the northern hemisphere, at least closer to the North Pole, go long on January and sell in July. If you're in the southern part of Argentina or in Australia, or then maybe you go long in July and you sell your long in January. That's just smart betting, making wagers, extra fiat currency, so that you can have more notes than somebody else. That's a very interesting thing to do for society. Okay. That's the weather report. Thank you for watching. Take care. And I'm not done yet because I said I was going to talk about the snow and I totally missed it. Snow in the summer. Really? Yeah, snow in the summer. These were things predicted by the webbots, who also stated that this winter was, well, it was going to be really cold and snowy anyway. And well, I don't know how England was doing in Arizona and different parts, but they might have been close on that one. And they were stating summer of 11, which at the time I was thinking, I don't know about this. You get a lot of things wrong. This would be one of the ones I would predict. After all, in this location, which was the Northern Hemisphere, now they didn't say it'd be Toronto or Southern Ontario. I think what they were stating is an area that just never ever gets snow in the summer, which is pretty much everywhere when you don't count the mountains anyway. Even Alaska, they get days that are really, really warm. It's very uncommon here to get a summer day in July and August where it's even below 12, 13 degrees Celsius. Even below 18 is really, really cold. And to get snow, you really got to get down to zero or close to it. And the snow they talked about was not a storm or anything, but the snow they're used to seeing in October or April or May. That's the snow they're talking about for July and August. And now that we're seeing this cold weather coming in, the conspiracy side of me says I might give it a little bit more consideration. Last time I took it with a grain of salt. Now I'm going to go maybe 20 or 50 grains. I don't know how many yet.